Welcome back to the Kyle Olson Show. Governor Gretchen Whitmer has made it especially miserable to live in Michigan. I don't need to tell you that if you live here. Her 3-week pause on certain freedoms, including dining in at restaurants, in-person schooling for many students, is now stretching to nearly 12 weeks. It's allegedly going to expire January 15th, next Friday. Newly sworn-in State Representative John Damoose is leading an effort to declare January 16th as Restaurant Dine-In Day across Michigan. You know, some people, State Representative, like the governor, might brush this off as some corny resolution, but I think it's really important. Businesses are hurting. Workers are hurting. Families are hurting. We need something to rally around, something to look forward to, even if it's this radical act of sitting in a restaurant. And our governor just isn't doing that. She's not providing that hope and optimism, is she?
No, and I'll tell you what, you're right. Some people may look at this as a corny resolution, but God forbid they do. These people have paid more than anybody else. I mean, these businesses have been driven into the ground, and most restaurants are already one of the most dangerous forms of business you can get involved with. I mean, they come and go. The failure rate is huge. Worker turnover rate is huge. The capital costs are huge. And the point is, if somebody's willing to scoff at what these businesses have been through, then I don't even want to talk to them, because we've got to rise up and do something to help these businesses. They've about had it. And one of the things that we get into here is, you know, you talked about this 12 weeks. Yes, it was from November 18th, and that was going to expire in December. I've talked to so many restaurant owners who said, okay, well, I guess we can open on this day. And, you know, it was less than 48 hours prior to the expiration that this was extended all the way into January 15th. And these businesses, you know what they did? They went out and stocked up. They got their workforce ready to go. And then they had the plug pulled out from them. And I didn't even realize all the stuff they bought spoiled. I mean, so it's just like adding insult to injury. They're just pay all throughout this thing. And I think by restaurant day idea, corny or not, it's entirely positive. We're living up to her extension to the 15th. Fine, whatever. We don't agree with it, but we're going to live up to it. Now we're going to go out and celebrate these businesses.
So, and let's talk about that. So you're introducing this resolution to declare January 16th Restaurant Dine-In Day. How do you hope Michiganders will respond?
Okay, I'll tell you what. So if it was just a resolution, that wouldn't do much. I mean, you know, this is not earth-shaking stuff. So it's a resolution to sort of set the tone that we're serious about this. But part and parcel with that is we're taking this on as a big-time marketing initiative. And so we've gotten all kinds of other representatives. And you know what we said is, I don't want to take credit for this. Don't even mention my name on this. Make it yours. Put it out there as Ken Borton, for instance, is going to support this. He's in the 105th. And I said, Ken, don't even mention me. Make it yours. You go out there and get your businesses excited. So we're doing all kinds of promotion on social media, through direct reaching out to restaurants, trying to get their participation rates through the roof. And you know what? Some of these restaurants are just plain happy to see someone supporting them. And it's amazing to me how our government has chosen to treat people over the last year. I mean, they've gotten hostile message after hostile message. You can't do this. You can't do this. You can't do this. Now there's these stings going on. We just had that big case in Michigan where a guy came in and said, I'm hungry and I'm lonely. And the restaurant owner said, I'll make you a sandwich. Boom, I got you. And they cited him for a fine. They were tested. It was a sting operation. This is nuts. It's not the way we should treat our hardworking people. In my mind, the state of Michigan and the entire, every government structure, but let's say the state of Michigan, should be coming out and saying, you know what, residents of Michigan, you guys have done a good job. You know, you've sacrificed. And this virus, you are the ones who prevented the spread of it. I mean, you never hear these positive messages. And I think it's time we change our tone.
You represent one of my absolute favorite places in the world, Mackinac Island.
Oh, yes.
Talk about the effect the ongoing lockdowns have had on places that rely so heavily on tourism and travelers.
It's amazing. Now, fortunately, the one little silver lining is we had a little breather during the summer, because what happened in March and April and May had happened in June, July, and August, we'd be in disaster state right now. I mean, fortunately, things were able to open up, granted, way under incredible restrictions, but these people were able to at least get by this year. The problem of what we're seeing is that those are, in our area, you've got the summer and then you've got Christmas season, Thanksgiving through Christmas and New Year's. And if you don't make your nut then and store up for the rest of the season, you're in real trouble. So when you have regulations closing you 50% of your business, I mean, imagine you go to Walmart and all of a sudden 50% of the aisles are gone. I mean, the Walmart would close up and say, we're not dealing with this town anymore. We're out of here. So that's what we've said to our businesses. You can operate, but you only can do half as well as you've ever done. You're half capacity. So they earned enough money to get by, but I was talking to one the other day, is the problem is they weren't able to get ahead. And so they were counting on Christmas season, like up in our tourist area. I live in Harbor Springs, but it's same is true all over our district. They were counting on this. And when that got shut down all the way to January 15th, these people are really scratching their heads whether this is worth the trip staying open.
I've often wondered what science the governor has been looking at, because restaurants have never made the top 3 spreaders of the virus, yet the governor has repeatedly targeted them. Do you know what science she's using to make her decisions?
Well, I would have no idea. And you're right, it keeps changing all the time. And the problem is, you're exactly right. The restaurants, if you look at, somebody sent me something on Facebook that was really interesting and it was well stated. And it was contrasting what the restaurants have done versus what major stores have done. And they were saying things like they walk into Walmart and they see people pick up the apples to check them to see if they're, which ones they want to buy and then put them back. But yet the restaurants are sanitizing every single thing. They're wearing gloves, they're wearing masks, they're doing everything. I mean, these people have really done an amazing job trying to follow these restrictions. And so I don't know what science they're following. When you find out that what was it, just before Christmas, it came out, 37% of the infections were happening from private parties, and I think it was under 2%. I don't have the facts with me right here. It was like under 2% were happening from restaurants. I mean, these people, this is where I'd want to hang out. In fact, I went to a little, not rally, but it was a gathering in support of restaurants in northern Michigan. We held signs saying, save our restaurant. In fact, I had the woman standing next to me was a server at a local restaurant. She had a great sign that says, "May I please speak to your manager?" Which I thought was awesome because they probably hear that every day. Right after that, I went into Walmart. I was like, you got to be kidding me. These restaurants, they space you out. And it's like an emergency zone right now. At Walmart, there was, I was in an aisle Christmas shopping with 15 other people jammed in. It makes no sense. So I have no idea what science it is.
So back in October, the state Supreme Court, they ruled the governor's executive orders related to coronavirus unconstitutional. And I mean, practically hours later, the Health and Human Services Department swooped in and basically issued many of the very same orders. And there's been a lot of frustration that the governor is just operating unilaterally. Her administration is operating unilaterally. So these orders, the latest orders, are supposed to expire. The quote-unquote pause is supposed to expire Friday the 15th. I'm highly skeptical whether or not that's actually going to happen. But what can the legislature do to rebalance the power in this situation?
Well, I'll tell you what. Keep in mind, I've only been on the job 3 days, so I'm still learning the ropes here. Before I get to what the legislature could do, I share your frustration and bewilderment at what happened with the Supreme Court. I mean, that happened on a Friday afternoon, and by Monday, the same rules are back through Health and Human Services. And I mean, I just scratched my head. This is somebody who doesn't learn nothing and doesn't care one bit about the spirit of the law. I just really, I can't believe she can do that. And so the problem is that we're going to have this for the next 2 years. I'm quickly learning, this well, but it was interesting to me, at least, that whole number 56, 20, and one, and that for the listeners who may not get it, is to pass anything. Let's say you've got the greatest idea in history of the world, undisputable. You have to have 56 representatives sign, yes, I agree with it. And we can get that with Republicans. We have to have 20 senators sign, yes, I agree with this. We can get that with Republicans. And you have to have one governor sign and say, yes, I agree with this. And here's where the problem comes in. So I think we're not going to get as much as any of us want by a long shot, but I
Mm-hmm.
think we can make some progress. There's got to be some things that we can get signed. Secondly, we do control the power of the purse, and I think some of this is going to happen. Reining in Health and Human Services, we control their budget, and we can make that happen. And I think it's going to be a lot more of those type of techniques. And the bottom line is, 5620 also applies to the governor, at least in a normal circumstance. That's why it's so appalling to go around and just rule by decree, because under normal circumstances, she too would have to work with those 56 representatives and the 20 senators. And so that's how things get done, because we can say, well, look, you're going to have to do this if we want to do this. And so even today, we see that we've Representative Albert, I guess, has said, look, you're not going to get control of any more money until we release some of these restrictions. It just came out this morning. I think that's great. So that's us exercising our power. We've got to be able to work together in some form or nothing gets done. But the other thing is, I think a lot of the people just want to see us standing up for them. And we're going to fight every day to do it, do differently, do what we did last year a lot differently this year. So
good. I'm happy to hear that. State Representative John Damoose, he's introducing a resolution to declare January 16th Restaurant Dine-In Day. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, and I'd encourage everybody to eat out on the 16th and order big and tip lots. So
excellent. This is the Kyle Olson Show. We'll be right back.